Marilyn Monroe was born Norma Jean Mortensen on June 1st, 1926, in Los Angeles, California. She spent the majority of her childhood living in foster homes and orphanages. Her first marriage to Jim Dougherty in 1942 was designed to keep her from being returned to the orphanage. Dougherty was her next-door neighbor. She was 16 at the time of her marriage to Dougherty. In 1943, to avoid being drafted by the Army during World War II, Dougherty volunteered for service in the Merchant Marines. While working in a defense factory during World War II, while her husband was away, she was approached by a photographer from the 1st Motion Picture Unit who was there taking morale-boosting pictures of the female workers. Although her photos were not ultimately used, it is this event that causes her to decide she wants to become a model, and she quits the factory in January of 1945 to begin that career. Upon informing her husband that she is going to become a model, he responds by telling her in no uncertain terms that he did not approve and that he did not want her to pursue a career in modeling. Marilyn decides to ignore him at this time and continues on with her new career. Now that she had decided to move into modeling anyway, she signed a contract with the Blue Book Modeling Agency in August of 1945. The agency felt that she was more suitable to pin-up photos rather than high-fashion modeling. As a result, most of her early work was in advertisements and men's magazines. It was during this time that she decided to straighten her hair and dye it blonde. According to the agency's owner, Marilyn was one of the most ambitious and hardworking models employed. By early 1946, she had already been featured in over 30 magazine covers such as Pageant, U.S. Camera, Laugh, and Peak magazines. During this time, she would occasionally use the pseudonym Jean Norman. Through the efforts of the modeling agency, Marilyn signed an acting contract in June of 1946, which became active in August of that year. However, there was a stipulation. Marilyn had to be single in order for the contract to become valid. It is at this time that Marilyn files for divorce from Dougherty. For the divorce to be granted, Marilyn had to prove that she could live on her own for 3 months. At the urging of her aunt, Marilyn decided to move to Las Vegas to demonstrate her independence. It is at this time, in May of 1946, that Marilyn moves into a small house located at 604 South 3rd Street. As you can see, the house that Marilyn lived in is now her parking lot, but the adjacent house next door still stands so that you can get an idea what the house looked like. Marilyn lived in that house for 3 months. She arrived in June of 1946 via the Las Vegas train station that was situated where the plaza stands today, and she left the same way she came, through the Las Vegas train station. While Marilyn lived in Las Vegas, she was known to frequent Corey's Cafe that was located at 4th and Fremont. This would be somewhere directly across from where Hennessy's Tavern sits today. In September of 1946, at the age of 20, Marilyn went to the Las Vegas courthouse that is now the Mob Museum to demonstrate that she had successfully lived on her own for 90 days and to get her divorce decree. Once granted, Marilyn got on the train to take her back to Los Angeles. That ended this chapter in her life in Las Vegas, Nevada. Marilyn returned to Las Vegas years later and had planned to marry DiMaggio at the El Rancho Casino in Las Vegas, but the wedding was canceled and they married in San Francisco instead on January 14, 1954.